What's up guys, it's Alex from RoofTentInsider.com. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you find the video helpful at any point, please give it a thumbs up. It helps with the channel a bunch. We're coming out with videos like this weekly with helpful camping tips as well as stuff for rooftop tent related. So with that said, let's get into today's topic of the video, which is are rooftop tents waterproof and some tips to waterproofing your rooftop tent as well. So first things first, are rooftop tents waterproof? Yes, they are. Especially if you go and look at a bunch of the specs and materials used on different rooftop tents, almost all of them say waterproof material, polyurethane. The coating on the rooftop tent, the polyurethane, will slowly fade away over time if you live in a harsh environment or just maybe even a really rainy area like I live in. So over time you will see that fade away just like any other product, but there are definitely some things you can do to kind of revitalize it. But the first thing I would advise before you even take your rooftop tent out, and I think this is a super helpful tip and something that I had no idea, is that you should water down your rooftop tent before you even use it. So open it up, take the rain fly off, water it down with water. Actually take your mattress out first so it doesn't get wet too, but water it down and then let it dry out completely, obviously, before you close it up. And what this does is it tightens the bond between the fabrics, and so it just makes for a more waterproof tent. I had no idea about this, but luckily through a bunch of research that I've done just for myself and the website, it was a tip I came across, so I've definitely been using it. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is to buy a fabric guard. I will link to the exact one below that you can get from Amazon. It's pretty cheap and it's by far the best recommended product. It's made for outdoor use as well, so it's ideal for these rooftop tents. It's super easy. You just spray it with the coating and do it every so often, however often you feel you need to revamp it. But this will help bring your tent's waterproof capabilities back to life. And it's also stain proof and like grease proof, I think, as well. So it'll help with a lot of other things. But I think this is by far the quickest way to just get your tent back to that original state where it was working in waterproof form. Another thing you can do is buy a Tepui weather hood. So this is just an example. I know not everybody has a Tepui. I don't even have one. But it is an option, and I'll link to it below just so you can kind of get an idea of what it is. But it's really just another cover that you put over the tent so it's more waterproof and better equipped to handle harsh conditions. I think a nice little workaround of this is you could just buy a tarp with some clamps and throw it around your tent if you're really concerned about staying dry, and this is probably a $25 solution. So if you don't want to go buy a $200 weather hood, this is a perfect option for you. And I think while maybe it's not the most aesthetically pleasing, it does get the job done, and I think that's what matters most. Another thing that is kind of important, and if you haven't bought a tent yet, it's something you can look for, is just to have a canopy over the entrance of the tent. So if you look at the extended version of a CVT, that's a good one. Also, the Smittybilt XL is an example of a canopy, which it just covers the ladder of the entrance. And so that way, when you get in and out of the tent, you're not having water obviously get in, because with most tents, water will just creep in once you open it up. So definitely a factor. You want to keep the bedding dry and the inside of the tent dry just as much as the outside. The last thing is just the advantage of being off of the ground. So you don't have to worry about it, setting up a ground tent and it pooling up where water is. So you can set up pretty much anywhere and not have to worry about it, and also not being muddy or anything like that. So those are some huge advantages that I find. Now, if you found this helpful, I also have an article that I will link to below, and it just gives more examples of some of the best rooftop tents for water or heavy rain conditions. So the best ones that are equipped to be waterproofed, and just a few more helpful tips that I just didn't really feel like getting too in depth to, but it would be really helpful if you do find it interesting and something you need a little bit more help on. So if you guys did find it helpful, please throw a thumbs up. Like I said, it helps the channel a bunch. If you're new, subscribe. We come out with videos like this all the time, just super helpful, fun, informative stuff. And if you guys have any questions, comment below. I'll be sure to reach out to you. Thank you so much for watching.